Lewis Hamilton winning the 2024 British Grand Prix was memorable for the simple fact that he hadn't won a race since 2021, and this is a 7-time World Drivers' Champion. We're talking about someone who, prior to this particular race, had won 103 races. That is no mean feat, and for someone to go more than 2.5 years almost without a race win is simply unbelievable, but it is very much in the nature of Formula One. Yet, whilst no one can discredit the fact that Hamilton drove a wonderful race, especially towards the ending phase where he really needed to ensure that he was employing all of his mastery and all the tricks that he'd learned over his career to bring the win home, there's also a simple fact that this was one of those wins that came about thanks in no small part to one of the other teams who should have been the favorites actually making bad strategy calls. I'm talking about, incidentally, Hamilton's former team, McLaren. Now, McLaren had one driver in Lando Norris finish on the podium in 3rd place, but it was a missed opportunity for them because with the kind of pace that they had, not only through qualifying but even the race, they could have very well not only had a win but potentially even a 1-2 finish. Yet there were two major errors that ended up costing the team that, and the first of them came in the first round of pit stops. Now, why I say this, it's because in the first round of pit stops, it was a very crucial time because the drivers had to get their tires changes done quickly. So instead of waiting, what Mercedes did at that point is that they double stacked their drivers, which meant they called both drivers in on the same lap and then ensured that both of them were changed one after the other with minimal fuss. McLaren, on the other hand, didn't do that. They only brought in Norris and left Piastri out. And what that did was ensure that Piastri's race was pretty much run at that point because everyone else managed to get onto the better tire, and then when he was called in, he ended up coming out into 6th place. Now, he did end up finishing 4th, which is full credit to him, but so good was their pace at that point in time that they were actually leading the Mercedes cars in a 1-2. Norris was ahead, Piastri was second, and if they had made the right strategy calls, they could have very well finished that way. But even keeping that aside, there was every chance that they could have prioritized Norris and ensured he had a better finish, potentially even another race win, to ensure he clawed back the deficit between him and, of course, the title favorite Max Verstappen. Even that did not happen. How so? Well, the final pit stop was where the other crucial error took place. For one, it was a case of 3 drivers all pitting at more or less the same times and then really choosing their choice of tires. Hamilton and Norris both took the soft compound tires, but then the problem was that McLaren struggled on the soft tires, and then eventually Norris ended up losing out on the 2nd position to Verstappen, which meant that not only did Norris not win the race, he even ended up, let's say, facing a further deficit after this because Verstappen, of course, ended up getting more points than him. Now, why this was particularly problematic is because Norris was actually consulted as to which tire should they be put, and of course, that was something that in hindsight is also a wrong call because the pit wall should have been taking that decision, but at that point in time, it just made sense for McLaren to go with the medium tires to ensure that they could actually get the best out of that final run, and it was also the tire that was working best with their car. They were the only team that had a brand new set of mediums at that point in time. The reason that Verstappen was put on hards is because he only had used mediums, and the same reason that Hamilton went for softs is because he had new softs and no mediums. But in fact, even the softs, he had to nurture them and nurse them home. So it's a pretty bold statement to say that Norris, if he was put in the mediums, may not have only finished ahead of Verstappen, he may very well have won the race. That being said, that's taking nothing away from how it is that Hamilton did. But despite that, Lando Norris was very, very harsh on himself because after the race, he said that I blame myself for the fact that we couldn't convert this to a win. I hate ending in this position and forever having excuses for not doing a good job. And it does feel a lot like that because in this entire triple header that we've had, 3 races in 3 weeks, you get the feeling that, truth be told, they could have actually won all 3 races. And I'm talking about McLaren here. Yet, the fact of the matter is they've walked away with no wins in those 3 races. And it is pretty galling to say the least. They should have been being able to win these races pretty comfortably. That unfortunately has not happened, and the fact of the matter is it shows that their strategy calls at this point need some fine-tuning. They need to be more ruthless, they need to be more proactive, and they need to get it right, because in Formula One, the marginal calls is what makes the difference between a good team and a championship contending team. McLaren, as things stand, are a good team, but a championship winning team, they still have some ways to go. But that's taking nothing away, of course, from Hamilton's win. It was very, very good. And you can tell us your opinions on this piece of analysis in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, follow us also on social media with Instagram, X, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. For now though, from my side, it's goodbye.